Thank you so much. So this is just a round table discussion for everyone that's on the chat from Longtail Learning and Miss Gardner. What does a typical day look like as a university student? Because some of our students are still trying to figure out, like, what does it mean when I say I'm going to university? What might I expect? And I'm going to, if you can, I think you're doing that now, Mr. Darrell, close out the screen sharing on your end. That way our visuals can become larger in the recording. Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. So yeah, Daniel, Yaiwan, Sky, Rylee, what's a day look like for you when you're in university? What do you do?
I can answer the first question because I haven't had a chance to talk yet, but it really truthfully depends on who you are as a person. So like for me, for example, I like to get things done earlier in the day. So as part of university, you schedule your own classes. You don't necessarily have English at this time, math at this time, biology at this time. So you schedule your own. I tend to schedule my classes starting in the morning so that I'm done by like 12 or 1 o'clock. That's my personal preference. And then the afternoon is yours for me to study, or I was a teacher's assistant, so I would assist with classes during that time. So it really is personal preference. And I feel that now that I've graduated, my first year was kind of exploring to find out like what way do I like doing things the best. So yeah.
All right, thank you.
I think I can sort of piggyback off of that because I have quite a different experience as a UK university student. So in the UK, as opposed to how they do it in North America, you have 3 years at university as opposed to 4. So in North America, what tends to happen if you go for the full 4 years is that I know a lot of people, like, you may be taking like commerce or something like that, but like you'll still be taking like some like maths classes or like some English classes or like things like that. It depends on the university you go to. For me, it was strictly about my degree. So in the first year, we had 4 mandatory classes that we had to do. The key thing is, I would say that's different, is that set by the school, you notice that it looks like you have a lot more free time. So for example, I would only have in first year 8-9 hours that I'd have to actually be on campus. But in reality, you're doing twice as much of that as in terms of independent study, probably. So you finish a lecture, and then after that lecture, you're doing 1 or 2 hours of like reading over the lecture, a lot of readings for that specific module for that week. And it sort of repeats itself over weeks.
Yeah, I love it. Sky, Daniel, what's your days look like over there in university?
Just to piggyback again, it differs from kind of first year to second year, because I'm in Canada, I'm in Vancouver, and first year, like again, you're kind of finding yourself a little bit. So for me, I would go from my dorm room, I'd wake up, and then go to my classes, kind of stay out there, study with friends, and then just come back home for the evening, and then just hang out and then go to sleep. But then second year, I think second year you're more mature, you have a better handle of yourself, you know how to handle like your academics a bit better. So you have more flexibility in your schedule, and I'm able to do a lot more in my day. So I'm able to go to the gym more, maybe to do like intramural sports throughout the week. And while studying is a lot more, I'm still able to have a lot more pockets of free time because I'm more organized.
Yeah, I'd say there's definitely been a change between first and second year, just because you get to understand how you want to shape your day. So for example, I don't have a class before 10:30 because I know that I don't want to wake up at like 8 a.m. excuse me, and get ready to go to school. But then I also have a lot of afternoons off, which is really nice. I personally have not been able to do this, but I know a lot of friends will have like no Friday classes or no Monday classes. So they can really make use of their free time and their schedule. But really nice to have time to do sports and go to the gym, as Daniel said.
Yeah, so on that note of,
It's
oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm having a little delay on my end. So sorry for cutting you off, Sky. You can complete your thoughts. So sorry.
no worries, no worries. I was done.
Okay, all right. You mentioned free time, and I was going to ask, what do you guys do for fun over there? Because I think that sometimes students don't understand just how fun and exciting and adventurous university life can be. Because what's talked about mostly is the scholastics, because that's why you're there. So that's important, right? We're not there to waste money. We want to do well in school, but it's also an adventure of a lifetime. What do you do for fun? What have been like some of your most memorable university experiences?
For me, as a city student, if you guys choose to go to any city, definitely come London. It's expensive. So luckily for me, I have a gym and a pool in my flat. So I make full use of those. But like when my friends get me out, what we tend to do is London has an awesome like underground system and like public transport system. So we're always like going for lunch in like Covent Garden, or we'll get on like a Uber boat, which is like a ferry, and like we'll go to like Greenwich, and then like, but that's when we're not studying. But even when you are studying, there's ways to fit leisure and like studying into each other. Like you find that a lot. So for example, if you go out to a park, you know, you bring your books with you, and like you do some reading and you bring some lunch, and like it's a nice vibe. It's a nice thing to do. Yeah, you sort of find your way around having fun and like get nice marriage of the two, fun and scholastics.
Awesome. Anyone else? What do you do for fun?
Yeah, just piggybacking on one statement. Like, yeah, for the studying, like studying, even though it is very academic, you do make it very fun. You do it with friends. Like for example, I just had exam period and I studied at a different spot each week. I just go around campus, find a different quiet spot, like take the bus to a cafe. So you just go anywhere you want. I think that's the best part about university and college. You just have that freedom to kind of do what you want, and well, within the limit, but you have that freedom to go explore. Like I live near to a park in Vancouver, so I always go for hikes there and for long walks, or I'll go to the beaches in Vancouver. So just that freedom and just being able to explore nature is the thing I do for fun.
Yes, sorry, would you? Oh, no, okay. So yeah, I also like doing different clubs. There's a bunch of different dance groups when you go to school. And like you can even do leisure activities as a class. So for example, you can do weightlifting as a fun class, or yoga, which is really fun, and it helps you vary up your schedule. But definitely studying in different areas can also be fun, especially because I'm also in a city like Yaiwan. So we go into the city a lot. We can study there, and then you can take a break, you can walk around. It's really up to you.
Love it. And if I could just briefly add a housekeeping note. Students, if you've logged on to your personal device, I'm so sorry, I'm having to remove you from the Zoom conversation because my internet's going slower because you're having so many, the volume is significant for this Zoom conversation. So apologies if you see me deselecting you or removing you from the chat. If you can view this from your advisor's computer or screen, that would be more helpful. All right. So sorry, feel free to continue.
I can go next since I'm the last one. For me, my college experience was a lot of campus involvement. So I liked being involved in like my school, for example. It's Nova Southeastern University. We're in Florida, so it's always really hot in Florida. There's a lot of like on-campus events that I enjoy going to. I joined a multicultural sorority. I was the chapter president, the community service chair. Like I really like being involved. And that's how I was able to make friends in university. And I am gonna like note it is uncomfortable at first, like going to an event when you don't know anyone, but then you come accustomed to it and you really enjoy it. So that was kind of what I did for fun. Also, since I'm in Florida, it's really hot. We go to the pool, we go to the beach, we go to Disney, all that kind of fun stuff as well. So even though I'm not in a city, we do like take road trips. Disney is about 3 hours from here. Tampa's 4 hours, so people drive, or it's the US, so flights are like $50. You hop on a plane and go somewhere. So one thing about university is like the independence. And like Daniel mentioned, like it's relative. So like independence, like you do what you can, but you like go to the gym as well. That's really common. Or like Sky mentioned, I took like a meditation and class as part of like my academics, so you can do fun stuff within academics as well.
All right, gosh, you guys are making me want to go back into university. It's beautiful to hear your experiences. And the last question, what are your ambitions? What are your academic pursuits beyond university? And how did you know? Because this is the question right now, we're in S1. A lot of students are trying to figure out their majors, their career interest. And some of them are getting a little stressed because they don't know it yet. And because they're still trying to figure out who they are and what their calling is. So what is your goal? And then kind of, how did you figure it out? How did you know what you wanted to do?
I'll go first. My goal is to graduate with a business degree and come back here to Bermuda just to work in either one of the accounting firms or in the insurance or reinsurance sector. It's just growing up in Bermuda is something that I've been surrounded with. And because I'm good at math and I enjoy math. So I thought it'd be a very good field to go into, and I love it. Like business as a career and business as a university degree is incredibly interesting. It's a social career and it's very fun to do. So if anyone's interested in math or just meeting people and creating connections, this is just amazing.
Awesome. Well, my perspective is a little different. I'm doing health, and about 2 weeks ago, I graduated. Later, I started my master's of public health. And in regards to like my interest, in all honesty, I didn't know until I came to college. No, like life is about change. I originally came to college pursuing a nursing degree, and then COVID happened, and as I wasn't enjoying what I was doing, and the whole concept of everything was so interesting to me that I explored other, and I actually through public health want to do like education and marketing, so teaching individuals about health education and healthy lifestyles and things like that. But just find what you're like passionate about and explore like avenues, like what careers can come through that. I feel like that's really important in my experience, at least.
Thanks, Rylee. I want to make this note because I see a beautiful question coming by. After this final question, the floor will be open for students, okay? So get your questions. Rylee, I'm gonna ask you to unmute if you would like and ask that question after they finish up their thoughts on this point. And so students, get those questions ready. We wanna hear from you.
I'll go next because my point actually sort of piggybacks exactly off of what Rylee said. So yeah, for me, when I'm 100% sure where in the next 5-10 years. I know that I want to get a master's. I don't know if I want to go as far as a PhD. And the nerd in me wants to pursue academia, but the person who wants to catch flights all over the world wants to go in the business. All that to say is that, like we're all human. We all have these different things and goals that we want to do. And what you should worry about most is what the path that I'm going on, does that feel like natural to me? Does it feel like I'm being forced down it? Does it feel like I'm forcing myself into some sort of norm that is not truly fitting of me? Because this is like talking about with academia, right? So in Bermuda, because we don't have like our own like full university, it's not really a big thing to pursue such a degree, not degree, such a pathway. From the time that we graduate and stuff like that, it's international business, insurance, things like that. And you need to, it's about sort of taking your time to think, is this exactly what's for me? And finding your own path.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I would agree with Iwan. I definitely went into college thinking I was gonna do econ and then come back and just slot into the reinsurance industry. But as I went to college and started exploring and taking different classes, I actually changed my mind doing international relations, and with international relations, other curve in the wire. So I really took it as I did it, and you don't have to have a certain goal as you go in. You don't have to know what you want to do, and I think that is totally fine.
All right,
Okay.
thank you so much. I just would love to welcome, oh, sorry, go ahead. Was someone
No, I was just gonna ask the
Oh.
question. You told me to.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, so the question is, how many colleges did we apply for, and did they get into the college of their choosing? I will go first. I believe this was 4 years ago now, so I'm not 100% sure, but I believe I applied to like six or seven colleges. Well, that I ended up going to, NSU was the college that I wanted to go to. The reason I applied to so many, it's just like for the choice, for financial aid reasons. You have to, for me personally, it was weighing how much money one school's giving me, is their scholarship opportunities, like things like that. But also like picking off of this, I know like another question that I always, how did you know what school you wanted to go to? Super to people who had gone there, things like that.
Once again, coming with my UK perspective, so in the UK, you have to apply to 5 universities through UCAS. I also applied to 3 Canadian ones, so McGill, Toronto, and Western. But in the UK, I applied to King's, Oxford, Warwick, University College London, and I can't remember the 5th. But King's was my top choice. And it was a sort of weird atmosphere. I chose King's in because, it was right after COVID. So our school had actually canceled our like annual sort of trip to go tour and visit universities. And so I really went off of the the atmosphere that I got from like their social media and stuff like that. So definitely, if you guys are interested in looking at schools and stuff like that, social media is a good way to get a good view. And I'm happy that I ended up at King's.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. So maybe that's a goal for some of you this week, is the schools that you are interested in. Just start looking for them on social media, to start liking them, to start following a whole ton of universities. And it will help to keep college going, university going on your vision, right? On your peripheral. All right, who else wants to share?
Yeah, I'll go. I want to go to Canada, so I applied to, I believe, 8. I applied to 8 in Canada, and I got into my top choice, UBC. But truthfully, I didn't. It wasn't my top choice until about April of that year, because I wasn't able to visit any of the schools because of COVID. So again, like Yawan said, I was going off of social media and asking friends, which is just something I'd recommend doing early. So it's not stressful. Just talk to people at those schools. Just ask around. Like I didn't know what school I wanted to go to, so I just searched up business schools Canada, and then just looked at the list, made a spreadsheet of the cost of each of the schools, social life, all that kind of stuff. Looked at day in the life videos. Just doing small things like that every day or every week is not very stressful, but it really builds up a kind of opinion on all the different schools to make the choice a lot easier.
And then what we'll do, thank you so much for the last few questions, is have one person answer each question as they come through, so we can allow for more of them to flow. And maybe one of you can answer, how do you handle rejection after applying to a college or university of your choice and getting a not accepted memo or response?
I can answer that one. So when I was applying to colleges, I applied to 10 schools in the US and Canada. And I applied to 2 Ivies because why not? And I didn't get into either of them, but I got waitlisted, so it's okay. And honestly, I didn't really have to deal with it because I was so excited about going to Tufts that the rejection, it was kind of like, oh well, I'm already going here. So I think once you choose a school and you get in, then the other rejections don't really matter because you're so focused on what the future at this new school will hold.
I love that glasses half full approach to college admissions. All right, any other questions? You can type them in or unmute yourself and feel free to ask. We have a few minutes left, so let's get those final questions rolling in.
Just to add on while people are typing up questions, one of my top schools was McGill in Canada, and I got rejected from that. And even if you get rejected from one of your top schools, like Sky said, you have to have a growth mindset. Like I got rejected from McGill. I have these other great schools I can go to. Nevertheless, even if you get accepted into one school out of 100 applications, you got to make that school experience your own and really shape it. You got to take any place you go for university is going to be great. It's going to be a new experience. It's exciting. So you got to really just try to make it a fun experience no matter where you go. And it is going to be a fun experience if you have that mindset.
Again, I love this concept. Growth mindset is literally what's behind us right here. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset. So thank you for showing us what it looks like in action. All right, I don't see any more chat questions. Anyone want to unmute and pose them verbally?
I was just gonna, while it's still typing up, I kind of have a funny story about like a rejection letter, because I got rejected from a school that I actually didn't want to go to at all. That was like, it was just like, it was supposed to be a safety option, and it was in Canada. And it was funny because me and Daniel went to the same high school here together, and we've been pretty close friends, and he got in. And I was just so confused, and it was like, but Yeah, get on the shoulder.
This is a great question. Was it scary, the difference between high school and college? If one person
I
can answer that. Mhm.
answer that one. Frankly speaking, yes. It is very, it's a change. For me personally, any change is scary just because it's different from your norm. So yes, it was scary, but high school prepares you for college. My experience was a little different because I went to boarding school. So like the part of being away from home and being away from family, I had already dealt with. But I do know, like in my experience, like with friends that for them, the workload is more. But I feel like it's all worth it. Also, like going back to like one of our other questions, like day in the life, your way of doing things makes it easier. The transition. But yes, it is scary. I hate to say that, but it is, but it's worth it. And you'll get like
If I could piggyback off of that a little bit, I was just gonna say that at uni there's this thing called that you get into uni, you've done all this sort of work, but you just feel like you don't fit, and this is a big thing out of unis because you go there and like you come from Bermuda, which is a very small place, and you're imposter syndrome. There you go,
Yes,
Daniel.
Daniel. Yes.
Daniel's being me on the vocabulary. But you have this sort of feeling like, I don't belong because you have all these like geniuses coming from all around the globe and you just feel like it's just you. But what I've learned is a good coping mechanism is just like, as Rylee said, like focus on yourself, sort of like think about like what your goals are, why you came, and that sort of centers you and it allows you to more comfortable with your surroundings and take away from that fear. And once you actually cope with that fear, you're able to actually do even better because you don't have that anxiety of I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this all the time when you're on your mind.
Boy, you guys are phenomenal and just so authentic and genuine in your responses. It's been such a robust conversation. I'll leave 30 seconds on the clock for any final questions before we head out. And I'm going to start to give my thanks until, and just in case a question doesn't come through, and say thank you so much for coming to engage our young people, not our future leaders, our current leaders, because they're leaders in their own right here and right now, right where they are in high school. We so appreciate you giving back to our community. You could say, well, I have my degree almost in the bag, yay me, and I'm done. But no, you're saying, okay, who else can I support? Who else can I uplift? Who else can I encourage? And so thank you for this noble pursuit. I believe that's it. I don't see any questions coming through. I think you guys have given such a robust response that that all is well. Before we close out this conversation, advisors, I know that the hour is late. If there isn't time to do the guidance test and students, there's always next week. It's literally only a 6-question test or reflection activity. It should take them 5 minutes with logging on and completing. However, if the time is too late, that's fine. Next week we'll do just fine. Again, everyone, thank you so much for coming. Don't forget, at the beginning of this chat, we said, how are you feeling? What are you needing? What are you wanting, right? I want to bring us right back to that. And hopefully you had in mind a wellness next step that you're going to use. So now's the time to consider how you can use it. All right. Thank you, everyone, again for coming here, and have a mindful day. Take care.
And Mrs. Massini, thank you
Yes.
so much for giving this opportunity to our young people. I want to thank Yaiwan, Daniel, Sky, and Rylee for a phenomenal presentation. Thank you, young people. All the best in your studies as you continue. And I know it seems early for our S1s, but it's certainly great information to have so that they can prepare. So thank you again. Well done.
Yes, and well said. You know, we keep the end in view. So here we are now talking about college because it'll be here right before we know it.
Absolutely.
All right, take care, everyone. Have a mindful day.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
and
you
thanks
so much.
again.
You.